Hi, I'm Kara, mom of 3, pediatric sleep expert, certified parenting coach, and founder of Well Rested Mama. Welcome to the Unswaddled podcast. Tune in every other week as we chat about baby and toddler sleep solutions, overcoming parenting challenges, and all things messy motherhood. Hello, and welcome to this episode of Well Rested Mama Unswaddled. Today we have Michelle from Michelle Stiff Wellness. And if you've been following along on Instagram, you know that Michelle and I have been working together. So first off, I'm going to introduce you to Michelle, and she's going to just tell us a little bit about what she does and the why behind it.
Well, thanks so much for having me here, Kara. I'm so excited to be here. And yeah, my journey to becoming a holistic health and metabolism coach has been definitely very rocky and stemmed from my own experiences in doing things the wrong way. Because the health and fitness industry tells us the things that we should be doing, eat less, move more, if you want to have, a shredded six-pack. And so I did those things. And I actually put myself into a metabolic hole. And by my late 20s, I had hormones that were like postmenopausal. So that was a fun place to be, especially when I wanted to start a family.
I feel like all businesses start from something that you're like, oh, why was I doing that?
Yes.
And now when you figure it out, you're like, start helping friends, which it was for me. I started helping friends. And then I was like, wait a minute, I could help more than just my friends, right? And then all of a sudden you're like, boss mom. Doing all the things. So
yeah, well, I've made all the mistakes so that other women don't have to. And things got really bad actually when I started my fitness studio in Africa with my husband. We ran it for 10 years and I was doing up to 18 classes, like physically doing them with my clients and, hitting 20 to 30,000 steps a day and feeling like, oh, I'm never lean enough. I kind of tend to have a stockier body. And I had this idea that, oh, women won't listen to me if I'm not the shredded kind of Fitspo look. And so that drove things really into the ground. And I ended up having autoimmune disease. I've got Hashimoto's, thyroiditis. And then later on, I found out after multiple pregnancies that I have another autoimmune condition that led to that. So again, it has been a rocky road.
And I think that's one of the things that makes you most relatable is because people are like, oh, she's a mom. Oh, she has, 2 kids and she's working and running from A to Z all day long, right? But then you're also able to provide people with the support, right? Which is huge. But again, when you're relatable, I think it makes it easier to help people because, like anything, well, if she can do it, I can do it, right? Because a lot of times, at least for me, and I'm sure everyone, if you're watching something online or you're scrolling, you're doom scrolling and you're, like you said, see all these super fit people. You're like, okay, they're 25. They don't have any kids. They're posting all day long. Their job is literally to be in the gym, which is not when would I do that all day long?
Exactly.
And, it's obviously they have goals and it's amazing, right? That's what they're doing, which is great, but that's not relatable to a mom who has 3 kids that literally doesn't have the time. And I think the best takeaway for me, and we'll get into everything that we did, is that you don't really need that much time.
Absolutely.
Which is
crazy. And sometimes more is just more and it's not better. And you're a good example of that.
Yes.
Because you've been doing less.
I think I've cut back a lot
from
what I've been doing, which is mind-blowing because you're like, wait, now I have more. I mean, I was painting when you got here, you know, you just have more time for things when you think if I don't do this today, if I don't make it to this class or something, everything's out the window. And I think that's the best part. I want to talk a little bit about mom life, right? And how the stress and the lack of sleep and just all the things really start to work against us, right? So we feel like we're doing so much and we're working so hard, but we are the problem. I'm talking about myself, right? We become our own problem. So can you kind of dive a little bit on how all of that ends up affecting our bodies?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm so glad you touched on this because the root of so much dysfunction is nervous system dysregulation. And we don't realize how, again, the lack of sleep, the pushing all the time, the go, 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 which let's face it, that is part of mom life, affects us on a cellular level. It affects our metabolism, it affects our hormones, and then it's a vicious cycle, which can be hard to get out of. And like what we were just talking about with you, always doing more doesn't mean better. Right. We need to be more strategic in how we are doing things, and having that specific strategy will end up making it more effective and more enjoyable in the process, so you can follow through and see results instead of just spinning your wheels doing more.
Most of us are interested in becoming the best version of ourselves after we've had a baby, right? And like hormones are crazy. And I, in my brain, always thought that like hormones aren't really a thing until like menopause. You know, like I'm not old enough to worry about that, but that's actually not the case, right?
No, it's not the case at all. Again, I put myself into a really bad space when I was just in my late 20s. And so when our body is under stress, and this will apply for women who are maybe trying to conceive or having struggles like I did. I didn't realize that the things I were doing were literally working against my hormones, and I was young, right? But that over-exercising, not fueling my body properly, it shut down reproductive functioning in my body. So yeah, that was a problem for conceiving, but that becomes a problem in perimenopause, which really starts in our mid-30s. Our hormones start to decline, and then obviously menopause and postmenopause. But that chronic stress cycle, and yes, having a baby is one of the biggest stresses you can have on your body. It will strip you, it will deplete you of everything to feed that baby. But then we've got the post, like the 4th trimester that they talk about, right? And if you are not sleeping, which is exactly where you come in, if you've got chronically elevated cortisol, it's going to affect your blood sugar, right? If you've got a blood sugar roller coaster, that's going to affect how your body can actually burn energy, right? Burn fat from your body. And then you're not going to be as strong in your workouts. You're not going to even want to work out. You're going to crave sugar, carbohydrates to bring, just kind of give you that oomph, bring it back up again. And then it's just up and down and all over the place. And then your sleep at night is affected again. So it's just over and over.
I do think like nowadays people are paying more attention to all of that. Whereas like our parents, you know what I'm saying? Like didn't have any clue about anything. So I will say, my sister, she's 2 years older than me. She's probably for the last couple of years been diving into just, she'd be like, okay, if you eat protein within 45 minutes of doing this, you know what I mean? Starting to like dive into all of that. And then things that she noticed that were working for her, she got blood work, stuff like that. So then my obviously wheels started turning. And then I got the blood work from a functional medicine place, right? Someone that I felt comfortable going. But when I went, and I don't know if you remember this, but we were talking at the gym, and I, told you that I had got my labs done, and they told me I was hypothyroid. And which, yes, they told me that, which was like, oh, okay. Like, what does that mean? And they just handed me supplements and sent me on my way, which is what got us talking.
Yes.
And I remember telling you my vitamin D level, which is 37, and the lowest it's supposed to be is like 80.
Yeah, 80 is optimal for sure. Okay. Up to 100, yeah.
Yeah. So I remember you asking like, well, what did they have you do for your vitamin D? And I was like, oh, they have me taking this every day. And it was like 5,000 units or something.
Yeah.
And you were like, that's nice, but that's not going to do anything. You'll be taking that for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
And you'll get to 39, right? So then you kind of explained to me that blood work, and I don't know how much like you guys know about this, but the ranges, we're comparing ourselves to everyone, right? So it's like, even though I'm in the green doesn't mean that's right for like me, right? And you're like optimal state. So that got the ball rolling here. Michelle was like, you're not taking 5, you're taking 25,000 a day for a month. And then I had to like decrease, and I was like, okay, that's crazy, but I'm going to do it. And I think within like a week, I was like not drinking coffee all day. Like my energy was like crazy. And I was like, I'm healed. So then we like went through that. And then we started talking about GLP-1s, because they did bring that up to me during our meeting or whatever it was. And not to necessarily put me on one, obviously, but they were saying how, a lot of people with hypothyroid can start to gain weight or carry weight and stuff. And, they were just basically preparing me for if that were to start happening, this is an option. And I was like, okay. But then they're like, but you don't qualify right now. Right. So it's like, they're just like planting this like seed in my brain. And then I remember talking to you being like, okay, the whole world is on this thing, which is fine. This is not about like, I don't care. Right. Like at all. Like it does not bother me. Like I won't do a GLP-1, but I'll get Botox. Right. So like, doesn't matter. So it just wasn't something that I was going to do for me. There, is not enough data out there. And I don't later down the road want to have some issue because I like didn't try, anything else. And we were talking and I was just telling you like, there's just people that are just like disappearing right before our eyes. And it's like, now all of a sudden, like you work out all the time, you do all this one. And like, now you're like the fat person, right? Like in the room because you're not doing a GLP-1. I'm like, this is so crazy. And I'm like, if this has crossed my mind, like there's no way this isn't affecting all these moms. I was watching something on TV where it was being streamed or something, and every commercial was about a GLP-1. Every single one. And I'm like, this is literally getting pushed down people's throats. Like it's crazy. And then you were just like, well, I mean, if you want to try my program, we could do it. And then I said yes. And like, here we are, right? It's just so crazy to me because and I don't know if you agree, but I feel like the results that I've had so far are faster than what would come had I started a GLP-1 that day.
I would agree. And I really do.
Because I've talked to Jeff about it. Not that I was even considering it, but had I, let's just say I like fell for the media and everything. And I was scared of my like hypothyroid. Had I done that, would my results be the same? And I do not think that they would be.
Yeah. And I think that it's important to understand that there are repercussions anytime you're adding an exogenous peptide to your body. And that's what we talked about. And I remember I sent you one of my webinars where I talked about GLP-1s versus the approach that we have in high impact fat loss. And you were like, this makes so much sense. I've been doing this. This is why I haven't been getting results. I'm in. Let's go.
Right. Like I wasn't eating.
Yeah, so and there's a reason you're hypothyroid then, right?
So like there's a reason, right? Like, and you explained it to me and I remember telling Jeff, like, you're not going to believe this. And he's like, what? And I was like, I'm stuck because I'm not eating enough. Like in order for me to like move the needle at all, I would have to not eat all day, which made it click for me, which is why nothing but a GLP-1 is working for any of these people because they too weren't eating properly all day. And now you're right. Nothing was working because your body was like in survival mode. And now that I'm like force feeding myself all day and still losing weight, I'm like, it is work, right? Like you have to keep eating, but it's just
so hard to eat more
for Kara. For me, it is hard because I've been stuck in like I'll feed the kids and then I'm running out of time and I got to go run upstairs and do something. And I just like,
living off caffeine and fumes.
Yeah. You guys have been asking me questions and stuff too. So we're going to kind of break it down for you as much as we can. And you're going to stop me and educate us along the way because I'm sure I will say things wrong. But when we first started, Michelle was like, I need to see how much you're eating. And I was like, okay, right? So let me show you how much I'm eating. And I started logging, which I've never logged in my, like I had to download the app. Like she was like, here's the app that you need to download. And I was like, okay. And I think like the first day I logged, I got to like 750 calories or something. And I was like, I had a good day. Like I was like,
I ate so much.
I would, and she's like, log everything, change nothing. But I'm like, I'm going to like eat today just so she can see. And that was me like trying, right? So I'm in that like, I'm under 800 for sure. And then I start to just get comfortable with it. And I'm just like, okay, I'm just going to truly log and see where we land, right? There were days that like I hadn't eaten. It's like 4 p.m. I'm like, oh gosh, I got to log something, right? So I would log or whatever. And the only day out of those 2 weeks that I, and correct me if I'm wrong, crossed over 1,000 calories was a date night with alcohol. Right?
Oh, yeah.
Jeff and I don't drink during the week. So like during the week, it was really bad. And then the week I'm like, ooh, my calories are so high. But like none of it was food because like a glass of wine is like 140 calories. So I would just like bump up. And then my app's like, you're alive today. But really it wasn't. And then one of the like 4 of those days we were on vacation. So like those were really high because we were like on the island getting like grouper tacos and stuff like that. But like when I was home doing my Kara day in the life it was pretty bad.
There were some areas to work on there.
We don't do that anymore. So basically that is just your
discovery phase.
Okay, right. So you're just it's like mine where I'm like asking them questions about like baby sleep. You're just trying to figure out where they're at.
Where your starting point is without changing things. Because it's really important for me to get an idea of this is what you've been doing up until now. Otherwise, it's cookie cutter and not customized at all.
We did that. And then after that, we had another meeting and you gave me numbers, macros.
Yeah.
Right? Is that what you call them?
Yeah, you
numbers?
had to do your measurements, your photos. We had to calculate, you know, where your body fat percentage was, how many steps, what are your workouts like, what is your sleep? Because all of that affects our metabolism.
My steps. She's like, how many steps do you get? I'm like, between like 4,000 and 10,000. And she's like, that's a real between 1 and 100. But I was like trying to be as honest as possible. I'm like, well, there's some days I am like walk a lot and there's some days I'm in the car all day going to work and I'm like literally none. And I'm not Jeff. I'm not like, oh, I got to get out of bed. I have 100 more steps to go. Like I was just like, don't care. That was like another number you were watching too, which was kind of funny. After that, you analyzed everything. You saw where I was at and then you bumped me up.
Yes.
A lot.
A lot. Your intake.
I remember the meeting. She was like, I don't want you to freak out, but I'm going to give you your new numbers. And I'm thinking like, it's fine. I got this, right? I didn't have it. I did it.
You did it.
I did it. But I mean, if you guys remember, I was like eating applesauce. I mean, I was getting all the carbs. Raisins. I would get in bed and like start to log everything. And I'm like, shit. And I'd have to get up and go get a cup of raisins to get those carbs in and stuff. I had to consciously be like, I have to eat because I was like logging my app and I knew she was watching and I had to get that number and I felt so full, but I was just like,
I'm powering
this is for a reason, right? And this is a full blown like trust fall situation, right? I mean, you're like, you have to eat all of this today. And I'm like, okay. And you just do it, which is like, obviously it's like people for me, like if we're doing this, like my baby's not going to do that. It's like the famous quote. And I'm like, okay, like, yes, they will, but you just have to listen to what I say. Right. Yep. So like I knew that. And I have compared sleep training to like fitness and nutrition stuff too, because like if you hire me, like you're hiring me for a coach, right? To tell you what to do and make sure you're doing it right. Anybody can Google anything, right? But had I Googled like what calories to eat, I would have done it for a day and be like, right? Yep. Which is why it doesn't work, right? So, but having someone, a personal trainer or a coach, you're able to talk to them and like trust the process. But if you don't trust them, you're not going to get anywhere, right? So like I knew that in my head. So I was like, I'm going to eat all this food. And then the next week was even higher. And we did that.
But we were checking in and making sure
it was good.
You were fine in the process.
I was fine. I was like just like full.
And I feel like a lot of women are in that, and especially like with
so
kids,
many. I can't.
And they eat the crust.
All my friends.
Just like, just go the whole day.
Yeah, because if I ate one leftover chicken nugget, I was full.
Yeah.
Because my calories were so low.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, we did that. What's that phase called? The
preparation phase.
Prep phase. Mm-hmm. Okay. So what's like the reason behind that?
It's metabolic restoration, because what had happened in Kara's case and most women is that they say they could maintain over here, but they've crashed down over here unintentionally, life, kids, whatever. Their metabolism adapts to down here. And that is a survival mechanism to keep us from starving. Because imagine if you'd continued to lose weight at a rapid pace when you were in a deficit and you were out in the wild and didn't actually have access to food, you would starve very quickly, right? So your body doesn't know you've got a fridge around the corner and you're intentionally doing this to yourself. So that self-protective, it's called adaptive thermogenesis. So it's just basically like your body starts to preserve energy to keep you going, keep your vital functioning. The fact that you're hypothyroid, that was your body slowing down its metabolism
right,
because you weren't eating.
I don't think I'm hypothyroid.
Exactly. Yeah, and by the way, you can
fun fact.
Exactly. So she had put herself, and it's a good thing you did the labs. You caught it early, because if you continue, I have hypothyroid,
of course,
because of years of doing that.
Yeah.
I didn't know any better. The endocrinologist didn't tell me that. So at that point, we needed to restore your metabolism. We needed to get things working again. So just like a fire, You can build it up higher and brighter by soaking it, by giving it logs. That was the food we were adding in to get your metabolism into a much better place so that it actually could see fat loss. Because you were already eating 700 calories. What was I supposed to do? Have you eat 100 a day? Or just breathe air? That's it.
Exactly. Once we were back to baseline, I'm going to call it. Probably still not baseline, but I was eating. My body was like awake. Then I went into my aggressive phase, which
fat loss acceleration
is my favorite phase because you don't have to eat that much.
Your body rocked this phase too.
I think that I was having to force myself to eat.
But you didn't gain weight. Let's just mention she was eating like however many times more, like 2.5 times more, and you didn't gain any weight.
Nothing.
That was shocking to you, wasn't it?
Yeah. It's not that I like wasn't eating on purpose. I just genuinely wasn't hungry. Right. So it's like I've never even tried to eat more before intentionally, I guess.
Well, and this is where the whole listening to your body, those signaling. So we have hormones, ghrelin, which is our hunger hormone, and leptin, which is like your satiety hormone. Those can get muddled after years of just chronically under eating. Again, you weren't intentionally following a low calorie diet.
Right.
You just, was your life.
Yeah. So then when I got into the aggressive phase, it was just came more naturally to me because I was used to just grazing and stuff like that. But it's not like I was starving. Like you weren't starving me.
No,
but I was fine. I was just eating my 3 meals and just obviously measuring everything and making sure I stayed in the macros that you gave me.
And you'd never done that before? You'd never tried to hit a protein target or looked at your fiber? You're like,
never even gotten 10,000 steps a day, like 5 days in a row. Now I have, but before this, no, I've never tried anything.
And I don't give 10,000 to everyone because we have to start with what the baseline is, right? If that's not going to be doable in someone's life, like we're going to make sure that it is doable.
And aside from the calorie deficit, like I said, we were getting the steps in, cutting back on the cardio. Why don't you dive into that a little bit? Because I do feel like, I don't know, it's just a very interesting thing to me because most people are like, oh, I need to lose weight. I'm going to run 3 miles every day.
Yeah, sure. Because we equate exercise with caloric burn. Right. So I want you to think about
technically true, right? It's calories in,
it
calories
is.
Out. Is that really
technically
a thing?
It is true. Okay. But the mechanism behind how your body is burning the calories is going to change. That equation is always true, but again, the mechanism will change. So for instance, when you're in prolonged chronic calorie deficit, your enzymes, your gut microbiome will change. It will start to extract more nutrients from your food for the same calories that are coming in. You'll slow down things like I'm moving my hands now, blinking, subconscious movement, or it's called NEAT, is non-exercise activity thermogenesis. So it's all the things that we do in a day when you're running around, you're doing laundry, you're playing with your kids. All of that stuff adds up to more caloric burn than your formal workouts. Your formal workouts don't burn that many calories, even if you're going out and running. By the way, the point of getting fitter is literally to make that exercise easier. What does it mean if it's easier? You're more efficient at it. It means you're going to burn fewer calories over time for the same exercise, by the way. So we need to move away from exercise for burning calories and more for, yes, if you're looking at your heart fitness and you want stronger muscles and all of those things,
good for you,
is good for you. But in an aggressive phase, we're trying to minimize stress on the body. Cardio, especially chronic cardio, when you're in a deficit, is more stress on your body. We don't need that. We want to signal to your body, keep as much lean mass as possible, muscle. That is our metabolic gold, right? So we do not want to lose it. A lot of the GLP-1s, they are not strength training. They're not prioritizing protein. They are losing so much lean mass in that process. Now, not everyone. Some people do have the right approach with it, and that's fantastic, but a lot don't. Right. And so if we look at your results, you've been able to maintain your muscle and truly lose fat because I said you're doing strength training, Kara. Like you're focusing on walking and strength training because if you don't use it, you lose it.
I think taking that component out of it, like if you were like, okay, you have to go run a mile every day, I would have been like,
not happening.
In your mind, it's just like, it's too much. Like you said, you try to like do a little bit out of a time, but strength training, like whether, I was just going to a class, right? That's was just resistant days only, or even truthfully just going into the garage and like slowly, like it wasn't like, I was doing some like EMOM or like some crazy workout, like just slowly getting some squats in or just like that, I think is just more attainable too.
Absolutely.
And it's not as like daunting or like scary of like, oh, she's making me do this today. Like it never felt that way at all. But I do think when people see like fitness or weight loss, they're immediately assuming like I'm going to have to work out for an hour every day. I'm going to have to, you know what I mean? And it's just like not that at all.
Right.
Which is why I will venture to say this has been easy because it's not been so like time consuming. I mean, Jeff argues with me on this all the time that it is time consuming. I'm weighing all my food and it's like once you get it
takes a few minutes a day.
I'm like, it's literally 2 seconds. But yes, you're changing
There's
habits,
a learning
obviously.
curve at the beginning.
Yes, for sure. But the anticipation of something like this, I think, is way worse than what actually it entails.
Absolutely. And for the workouts, 30 to 40 minutes. 2 to 3 times a week. That's all. I have online workouts that I do on Zoom. People can come to my garage, but literally I work out from my garage. So like you said, the intimidation of going into a gym or like the gym bros in there and all of that. And even the time it takes to go there, working out from home, my clients are like, this is amazing. I can get these results in such a short amount of time.
Overall, I think the aggressive phase is like,
your jam.
I mean, I know I'm not allowed to be there forever. I'm not in there anymore, but yes, I did find a comfort level in there, but I do think, you know, like everyone says, if you're comfortable, you're not changing, right? So the uncomfortable part for me was always the eating more, which brings me to the refeed. So after the aggressive phase, which we did 21 days, it's something called a refeed, which is even more food than I've ever eaten in my entire life.
A lot of carbs.
Day, and a lot of carbs. So that section, the first time I did a refeed was 3 days. Yeah. So 3 days, calories are super high. That's essentially just to wake your body back up.
Yeah.
In a sense.
Exactly.
Because you're in the deficit.
Because you've been in that depleted, you've been in a deficit for the 21 days. So we want to refill and get your metabolism back up. Because again, it will adapt the longer you're in a deficit. So this breaks it up. It breaks up that adaptation. It gives your body, it's just literally refueling so that you can continue. It's kind of like topping up your car with gas when you're on a car ride. You have to fill it. Otherwise, you're going to break down.
And then after that, I did another aggressive phase. And then now I'm in something called a boost phase.
Yes.
Which calories are higher. They're not too intimidating. They're not like refeed high.
We are working to boost your metabolism to find your maintenance now because you've had a significant amount of fat loss in a very short period of time. And now we want your body to recalibrate at this new lower weight and body fat percentage. But we're slowly adding in more food, again, like logs on the fire to burn it higher and brighter. But again, you've never done this. I always say this is the missing link for women. Every woman's maintenance is going to be different, and maintenance isn't static, right? So when I take into account your body fat percentage, your sleep, your workouts, your steps, all of that goes to your total daily energy burn, right? And we talked about NEAT, non-exercise, the fidgeting, moving around throughout your day. So all of those things, plus just where your base metabolism, if you were laying in bed all day, right? That's called your BMR. So if you never moved like in at all during the day, you would still be burning calories because your heart still needs to beat, your brain still needs to function. All of those metabolic bioenzymatic processes have to happen, which burn calories, right? And then there's also a food burn, by the way. Protein has the highest food burn. So a lot of people who are eating processed foods, not having enough protein, that has a very low food burn. And the kind of metabolic signaling to your body is very different than if you eat whole foods recognizable from nature that you could grow or kill, right? So it's not just, a calorie isn't just a calorie. It's like, where is it coming from? So protein has a high natural food burn, right? So you change the composition of what you were eating. The quality of your food changed a lot, right, throughout this process. And your body was happier for it. So if you continued at the 1200, again, your body would adapt to that. And then if, say, you just started going into just whatever mode, which a lot of people, they get burnt out. There's diet fatigue. They're like, I hit my goal. Let me just go back to my old habits. Your body is primed to want to regain that weight back so quickly because it's like you've literally deprived and quote unquote starved me. Not really, but that's how your body perceives it. And it will want to swing the other way really fast. So that's why so many women gain back more fat than what they lost. And that's heartbreaking. You put in all this effort to lose the weight only to regain it back even like just quicker and then you lost it. So that is why I say the boost is probably my favorite because we're retraining your metabolism and getting it to ignite.
And how do you figure out where to stop?
We're going to do it based off your body's feedback. So I have a calculation estimating where your maintenance is. Whether or not you get there, you might get higher, you might get lower. So we're going to be monitoring you week after week. Like you said, there are going to be weekly adjustments or increases. We might not increase if I'm starting to see, are we starting to gain back some fat? And you said that you're like, you're not going to let me get fat again, right? Like panic mode.
Show me the numbers for like the next 6 weeks. And I was like, ma'am.
I wouldn't have a business if I allowed people to just like gain back all the weight they just lost.
Like, right? I will know right away. And I was like, okay.
So we're going to look not just at the scale, but your body fat, your measurements. We'll still do photos. So if we start to see, oh, maybe we've overshot, maybe we are actually approaching that maintenance, we're going to be able to know, pull back slightly, stabilize there, see what your body does. Because sometimes your body needs to play catch up, right? It's again, you're like stoking the fire and all of a sudden it's like, oh, okay, no, I'm good here. And then you start to see the scale go down again. It's so interesting. A lot of the women in Boost, even though we're adding calories, continue to see loss because they're still in a deficit. Not everyone. That's not the goal of the Boost, but it's a really cool phase. It's a lot of mindset around this, and getting coaching is so crucial because, again, women get scared and then they'll want to pull back and just undereat again. It's very common.
I'm excited about it too because even last night, like, I was like messing with dinner ideas and it's like, oh, I could make this. I haven't made it in a while because it, didn't fit into my macros or something like that. So it's giving me a little bit more like freedom and flexibility. Yeah. Cause like I love cooking and like, I've been trying to make up recipes like this whole time. So like I enjoy that. So I do feel like getting that back and being able to like, like I made protein cookies for the kids yesterday. Awesome. By the way, it was literally banana, protein powder, and chocolate chips. And
yes, I used to
tahini, something else. I forget.
Just to like bind it.
I left them on the counter. Didn't say anything to anyone. All my kids gone. But I was just testing to see, like, because I don't restrict my kids' food in a way that like that's bad, or like I want my kids to know, like they'll be at a birthday party and be like, I don't want a cupcake right now, right? Like I want them to have that like sense of decision making and like knowing if their body wants it or not,
and not morality around food.
No, we don't get punished for food. We don't get in trouble. We don't, I'm not like clean plate club. The only thing we do is the protein has to go, right? But sides, anything like that, I don't care at all. So I made them, and I'm not going to lie, I didn't eat one because it didn't fit in my macros yesterday. So I hadn't really tried them because I'm a rule follower. With all Jeff's like, it doesn't have to be perfect every day. I'm like, yes, it does.
It doesn't.
It doesn't. I know it doesn't, but I am just like,
right on this one.
I'm in or I'm out. And just left them there, and they looked like, chocolate chip cookies. I mean, I could tell they looked different, right? It wasn't like a Chips Ahoy sitting on the counter. And Blakely was the first one to grab one, which she's the most psychotic one in our house. So I was just like sitting there like, this is only.
And her reaction?
Ate the whole thing, asked for another one after dinner, and then wanted some for breakfast, which I would have said yes because it's literally banana and protein powder, but they were all gone. And she asked me to make more, and I was like, this was a very interesting social experiment because, like I said, I don't restrict them. Like we have junk food and we have healthy food, and I just want them to be able to pick so that they're not the kids that like go to college and binge eat all day, right? Like because that's a thing.
All the forbidden foods, give them
and I literally have friends who restrict their kids, and the first thing they do at my house is binge eat the bad stuff, and it's like it frustrates me so bad because I'm like, there's a middle ground, and you have to teach them to choose, and my kids will choose the healthier options. Anyway, that's a whole nother day. I do feel like this phase, like I said, is going to be more entertaining for me, just in the sense of trying new things. But overall, I just feel like it's been very educational too. Like, I'm like, like, okay, we lost weight, like whatever, like all that's great. Right. But like my sleep is better. And I still have my Diet Coke every day, as you can see, because I do love it. But like, I haven't like Starbucks. I don't even
And
go
you
there.
were living in the Starbucks every day.
I love Starbucks. Like 2 o'clock, I'm like, should I make my coffee or go get it today? Like, and trust me, there's days where like I'll go to grab it just because I wanted it, but like I was like, you're not tired. Like,
that's so
get
cool.
something else. I did try to like switch them out because I do like that like afternoon like drink per se, like an ice cold, like while I'm driving
you
to
like
get the
look
kids.
forward to it. Absolutely.
But like, it's no longer needs to be like an energy drink, right?
Yeah.
Like it's just something different. So I think like that's all really cool. And just like not waking up really tired, you know? Everyone's like, "Oh, are you well rested?" Like that's the joke with like, "Oh, you're so well rested." I'm like, I'm never well rested. Like, what do you mean? I have like 18 jobs and 3 kids. Like, no, I'm never. But now I'm like, yeah, I actually am. Yeah. I do think that obviously a lot of people I think get started because they're hitting that like, oh, I feel gross, like, right. And which is everyone.
Yeah,
it's normal.
A new body.
Yeah, it's totally
body.
normal. Like whether it's baby weight, hormone weight, whatever it is, like you do get to a point where you're like, like, you know, let's do something.
Yeah.
But that's like, to me, like on the smaller scale of like everything else, you know, because like when you're feeling better and you're waking up and like drinking coffee and it's like, oh, I'm just going to go for a walk really quick. Whereas before it's like, oh, I gotta go downstairs and pack lunches, right? Because you're like, just like, so it's like I would still be sleeping. Like, I mean, you know, like I don't have a problem sleeping. Like I would sleep 9 hours.
Yeah.
But I was not waking
rested,
up feeling rested. So
I know we looked at your HRV, which is really your body's like stress resilience, your heart rate variability. And it was pretty low when we started, and it is so much better now. And the higher, the better. So, but we start from wherever your baseline is. So that's why I say it's so important to understand.
And everyone's, as Jeff was saying, everyone's is like
everyone's different. That's why we have to take into account where you started.
Like my amazing number could be his
terrible number. Exactly. 100%. And I think like what you said is so important about when you are showing up, when you have energy as a mom to do these things, you are showing up as a better version of yourself for your kids. Yeah. So I think so often we put ourselves on the back burner. You know, anything the kids want to do, we'll sacrifice ourselves, but really they are suffering from it. Like they don't remember presents and gifts and things like that. They remember your presence, the things that you're doing, and how this is the launch pad for being able to really be present in their lives and do those things. And I tell my kids, I'm like, well, if you guys have kids one day, I want to be the fit and feisty granny. Like I want to be that one, right? Like I don't want to be the frail, like, and so it has to come from a deeper place of truly wanting health. And that's why we look at all this biofeedback. It's not just about losing fat, getting into a smaller size. It's truly about optimizing your body so you can enjoy your life. That's why I call my company Wellness Elevate. Is you are elevating your wellness so you are the highest version of yourself.
I think all of that is just so relatable, right? Because at one point or another, as a mom, everyone gets there. And if you didn't, that's really good for you. But like, it's not like in terms of like my friends or, you know, people like in our community or that we've talked to, or even clients that like we've gotten to know, like everybody gets to that place, whatever got them there, right? Whether it was like postpartum anxiety, depression,
I had that.
Hormones, like burnout, I guess is the word. I don't like love that word, I guess, because it just feels so like rock bottom, and it's not. Like I don't think that I was like, oh, I'm hitting rock bottom. It was just you start to notice that things are just like meh, right? Or like could be better. And I think something, and I don't know about for you, but for me that frustrates me the most is when I'm talking to like a mom and they're like, well, this is just how it is going to be for a while, right? Like this is like sleep, like, well, I just
sleep when I'm dead.
Yeah, like it's okay, like it's just a season or something. And I just wish everyone understood like yes, it is a season, but that season doesn't have to like be your end all be all or last this amount of like years or anything like that, which is a big reason that I wanted, you know, you to come here today and talk to us, because it's so easy to get lost in the like social media side of fitness and wellness and overall health, that it makes it feel like so distant. And bringing you, or, you know, bringing them along with my process and bringing you here is just, I just want them to know, you know what I'm saying? Like I want all of our moms to know that it's just so like simple.
Yeah. And I think that's so key to understand, is that you don't have to overhaul everything. It's the strategy. It's simple. It's meeting you where you're at so you can feel your best. And I suffered from severe postpartum anxiety. I was so depleted and living off caffeine and then winding down at night because, you know, I needed something. And that was a really vicious cycle. And I didn't realize how much it was affecting my hormones and metabolism until I went the functional route. And I found, okay, these are the root cause. Let's focus on these along with the other things that we've talked about today with a multiphasic approach. And when it is so custom and specific to that unique woman's body, the other dominoes just kind of fall into place, which is really beautiful. So it doesn't feel like you're pushing a huge boulder up a hill and again, you're changing everything. It is strategic and custom to you and your journey.
It's amazing. I hope you guys learned something today. If you have any questions for Michelle, please drop them in the comments. We will be sure to get those over to her. We're going to link Michelle's Instagram below so that you guys can go over and find her. She offers a ton of just free information too. Guides, you have
their metabolic quiz where we can really pinpoint where your metabolism sits right now and map out exactly what to do to start getting your metabolism working for you again.
Yeah. And if you're even interested on moving further and doing the program with her, you can set up a call with her and she will walk you through everything. As always, thanks for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next episode. Give this video a like if you found it helpful or share with a friend. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments and we'll see you next time.